Welcome into episode number 11 of Cheers to Baseball, presented by our friends at Old Dominic. Chris Dimino, Kevin McAlpin here with you. And Chris, we have made it to the final week without baseball. Pitchers and catchers reporting to their respective camps early next week. That means it is spring training number 5 for the Braves in Northport, Florida. And I know you'll be heading down there in a couple of weeks, man. This is always an exciting year. I know hope springs eternal in 30 camps, but let's be honest, it's really about 10 or 12 where teams really go to camp thinking they got the chance this year.
Yeah, what's really interesting about Northport, don't forget when it opened and who wasn't allowed down there. You know, we're talking about all the COVID stuff, and it was sort of, it's here, you guys can't see it unless you watch a video and watch a drone. And it was really interesting because I had an opportunity to talk to the guys who built it, the guy who was in charge of building the whole thing. And I saw an aerial he sent from a pilot that they paid a couple of bucks to just go over the land and try to explain where everything was going to be before it was anything close to this. And it was really fascinating how you're going to spring something up. And they did it for a number of reasons. The Orlando lease was up. They stayed, I think, for an extra year. But it wasn't really working for everybody at that point. There wasn't enough room. There wasn't enough of an ability to expand what they needed. Offices, weight room, living quarters, which they actually built here. So they literally had a blank slate. It's just land. And what they decided to do was build a first-class facility that really, not only for the guys rehabbing all winter, but rehabbing during the season, plus an opportunity to put guys in one place to live, where if you're going to do classroom type stuff, and they do, they have an ability to do that as well.
They pretty much have anything and everything. If they have dreamt the idea, they put it in this complex between the backfields, the half fields, where the infielders can just do their work. You've got, here's my video of Max and I at Fantasy Camp a couple of weeks ago, just kind of giving you an idea of what's where. They got a turf infield here. The infielders can get all their ground balls work in right outside the back of their clubhouse. You and I went down to Disney year in and year out. There was equipment, there was benches, there was a bike that had a missing pedal in the hallway. You don't have to worry about any of that here in Northport anymore.
Well, even just where they can actually have their pitchers throw, it's a bunch of mounts. It's got everything, including TrackMan and all the things that you want from a technology standpoint. They video every session, and it's right across from where the locker room is, so guys can get a little meal, go out, do their work, go back to whatever field they're going to be going to then. They have more cages than ever before. They have more access to more cages even than what we normally see because they can go a little bit further out for the younger guys. And you have enough room to do everything it is you need to do, including once the Braves leave. Like, this place still exists. It's a 7-week window, 8-week window where people go, oh, you're going to spring training. But this facility is built for 365, 24/7. And when a guy like Spencer Strider says the day after Christmas, I go down, I want the weather, and I want the facility, you certainly understand why.
Ian Anderson has bought a house right down the road. I know a lot of guys have invested in that area. And for those of you who may have gone down in 2020 before the world shut down, what you experienced then to what it is now, Chris, there are neighborhoods going up. There are shopping centers going up.
Food
everywhere.
That's always a big sign. Whenever they start building a few restaurants or a couple of restaurants open, Amanda and I, who is actually recording this now, when we go down there, we're going to take a trip down one of the streets where there was nothing, and now there are communities. And if you invested in land or you had an opportunity to buy land there, boy, it's almost like striking oil. And they're going to do a couple other things to make it even more accessible to the beach, which was really what you sold in this area before the Atlanta Braves moved down there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Matter of fact, they're actually working on a hotel behind left field. So if you're sitting in the main ballpark behind left field, there's going to be a hotel that's going to go up. They said they're breaking ground in April. They hope to have it open next year. Now, I know it's Florida. Things go up very quickly. That seems a little ambitious, but there's a golf course they've built out in the back of there. They're putting up a hotel. It's just the area is expanding so much. I can't wait to see what it looks like 5 years from now.
Yeah, the hotel really makes a lot of sense. Again, could it be a 365? Well, if you have access to the beach the way you do, you can certainly say, whether it's ballpark tours, whether it's watching rehab guys, whatever it might be, plus a tiki. They got a tiki bar down the left field line. Like, I'm not even kidding. It's open in the afternoon. We were doing a show down there, and at 2 o'clock, we looked over there. We heard the noise. We're like, what the hell? There's like, oh, yeah. There are locals that come to drink Thursday and Friday afternoons, Saturday afternoons during the off season. Certainly it picks up during spring training, but that thing was open all year round.
I highly recommend the rum buckets. I may or may not have partaken in a couple of those over the last few spring trainings.
Not my bag or anything, but okay, I get it. I went in Rome or in Northport, as they like to say. So, yeah, facility is going to work for a lot of different reasons. It'll be interesting to see if the hotel can open up by the time spring training rolls around. But they've got everything they need. And when you ask guys about the workout area, their eyes light up.
Yeah.
I mean, it is legit They don't do a lot of video of that. Like, they don't really. It exists, and again, I think we're going to try to get permission to do a couple of things we didn't do last year. Go in there and just actually get a tour of classroom situation. By the way, they have literally a room where everybody can actually sit in and they can go over whatever it is they want to go over. When the league comes in to talk about steroids, gambling, and everything else, they have a place to gather now. It's a lot more convenient than Orlando ever was.
They have the auditorium almost like a football complex would have. You can put 150, 200 people in that room. I know Hank spoke to the team a few years back. Snit does his little, rah-rah, let's go get him this year, boys speech. They've got anything and everything. Let's be honest. You just want to see the inside of that weight room because you want to get a quick lift in.
Yeah, no, I don't, actually. but I will say that it's not just dumbbells now. These guys have a wall in the back, and you see what are they doing there? They're doing everything you can possibly imagine. Plyos, Pilates. There's yoga-type stuff. They're stretching in the morning. It really is a much, much better facility for all that, including for the rehabs. And when you got guys you got millions of dollars invested in, with all due respect, where do you want to send them? You want to send them where you have a full-time staff. With a facility, you can get everything done. Yeah,
no question. They had anything at their disposal. So if you want to try to plan a trip down there, I know Dimino will be bringing some interviews with Nick and Chris will be broadcasting live. I know Amanda will have some video content as well.
I actually just carry a bag over to where the younger guys stay and just like go into a room and take a top bunk.
Sure.
And maybe I'm actually, rooming with a second baseman from Wichita.
Yeah. Hey,
Who are you? I'm old guy trying to make the club.
Hey, can we talk about second baseman for a minute? Because MLB Network in the offseason, they put together their top 10 list.
Oh, they did it again.
Oops. This is 2 years in a row.
Oops.
And I love MLB Network. I love a lot of the people up at MLB Network. You and I have done some stuff with them over the years. But leaving Ozzie Albies off the top 10 second baseman right now for not only the first, but the second year in a row, I had to tweet it. I said, did Ozzie Albies retire? And Ozzie told me at Braves Fest he saw that and he got a good laugh out of that. But Ozzie not in the top 10? What are we doing?
What they did is at Fan Fest is they asked his teammates, and the reaction was everything it was supposed to be. Guys bumping to him at 1, 2, or 3. The number really doesn't matter. It's just the idea that he was left off.
Yeah.
We're going to go through some of the top 10s. We'll talk about and see where some of the Braves players actually rank according to and again, Brian Kenny, who we had on last year after this happened, sort of has become the face of this. Now, he's not the only one who should take the slings and arrows, but he's the most convenient guy to take the slings and arrows because if they're trying to analyze this, i.e. wink, wink, with numbers, if they're trying to figure it out, there's not a number that doesn't indicate that Ozzie Albies shouldn't not only be in the top 10, but when you talk about intangibles, how much he plays, what he means to a team, maybe they're not supposed to count that. I will. If you want to do straight numbers, he's in. If you want to do all the other stuff, value, bang for your buck, he's certainly in that category. It just makes no sense.
If Bryce Harper, converted right fielder who's played like 40 games at first base, is the number 2 first baseman on the list, and Ozzie had 30 and 100 last year, and he's not listed in the top 10, I throw that list out. Hey, speaking of top 10 lists, Chris, what do you say we dive into a few of these lists that I think we probably see a little bit more eye to eye on with the fine folks at MLB Network. Now, the Braves certainly well represented on a number of these lists, including starting pitching-wise. Chris, 2 of the top 10, Spencer Strider, Max Fried, coming in as far as the top 10 starting pitchers in the game. Hard to argue with Garrett Cole, Corbin Burns, who now has a new team. That's pretty interesting as well.
When was the last time you heard a manager actually talk about another team's deal? Aaron Boone talking about Burns going over to Baltimore. So, well, that's not going to make things any easier because if you have what this list says, anything close to the second best pitcher in baseball, you just took a 101-win team who's got up-and-coming type status in Baltimore and gave them a guy who's established like Burns.
You know what's interesting, too, is you have 6 of those 10 pitchers on that list weren't even ranked last year. Now here they are in the top 10. So it goes to show you the volatility of the starting pitching market, how it can change so quickly from year to year.
Yeah, and if they're just talking about best, whatever your definition is, and this is the stuff that gets you in trouble, are you talking about also ability to have reliability? They're there. They make their starts. That's got to be a part of it. It's not just numbers. Are there times, and again, I'm not telling you, there should be a deep enough dive because they have enough time. How many times did you extend a winning streak? How many times did you stop a losing streak? Those are the types of things that I would certainly consider every bit as much as, well, he throws 97. He throws 97. He's filthy. He's got 97 plus this. I get that. That, to me, doesn't make you the best.
Right.
It doesn't make you a top 10 pitcher. It makes you a guy with stuff. To me, when you're a top 10 pitcher in baseball, and I'm not sure the word ace, whether it's 6-inning guys, are you an ace?
You are now.
So. But by today's standards, you become a guy who's eligible to be not only one of the top 10 pitchers in baseball, but you're eligible to wait for free agency and make a good amount of money.
All those guys are going to be right there in the Cy Young conversation as well. It'll be very interesting to see how it goes.
It's funny you say that because when I looked at the pitcher list, I wonder if there was any value in just going, let's look at the Cy Young. Does the Cy Young and the American and National League come from outside that list? My guess would be, even though they have the most recognizable names, there's a good chance that the Cy Young comes off of that top 10 list, maybe in one league, but not in the other.
You love playing the field, too.
Oh, yeah. Give me value. I love value. Value. Every time I see plus and the number is past 800, I'll look at the field.
Yeah.
I'll look at a guy on the outside.
No doubt.
Much more quickly than the guy with a plus 300.
Hey, speaking of Corbin Burns, his battery mate now, Adley Rutschman of the Baltimore Orioles, who has shot up this list. He was third last year up to number 1. Sean Murphy of the Braves comes in at number 3. Hard to argue those top 3 with Rutschman, Will Smith, Sean Murphy, ahead of JT Realmuto. And think about the deal that he got in Philly, and that was like, whoa, Realmuto is going to Philadelphia. I'll take Sean Murphy 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, remember when it says 1, that's before last season.
Yeah.
And that's where he was. About a year ago, I don't know what day on the air, but there was that, if you line them up, and I love this game, you line them up in a park and they're all available to you. There's no such thing as free agency, arbitration, or anything. They're all just available to you. You can make a case that Adley Rutschman would have been the guy that you picked in all of baseball.
Yeah.
Because you get an everyday guy behind the plate. Now, every day for a catcher might be 120, but it's the 120 that might matter the most if he's as good as everybody thinks he is. You can make a case for what you weren't paying him. Mm-hmm. He becomes the guy that could be the most valuable guy in baseball if you believe that this position is the most important in baseball.
Yeah, there's some good names on that list, no doubt about it. Gabriel Moreno, number 10, Arizona. Diamondbacks had a really good year a year ago. They've got Zach Gallen. They've got Moreno. There's some names on there as well.
Let me give you one more. Will Smith. You go, oh, well, that, he's Will Smith. It's the infamous, where is he even on his own team in terms of value? You can be on the Dodgers and be underrated.
Yeah.
He's not underrated on this list, but you can be underrated. Will Smith, I think, is that guy.
I think he is, too. And you talk about that top of the lineup with Betts, Freeman. Now you throw Ohtani in there. Will Smith's sort of the other dude. He's probably okay with that with Max Muncy as well. A lot of star power in that lineup. But Will Smith, to me, he's not a big guy either. You think about catchers that hit a lot of bombs. He's not a big dude when you see him down on the field, for watching him warm up.
If you have an ability to be a defensive catcher with some offense in a team like that, you're perfect.
Yeah.
Because what they're asking you to do is make sure that you understand, remember how many injuries they've had on the mound. You've got to know more guys. You've got to pull guys through as they're coming back from being on ILs. That's another thing people don't talk about with catchers. When a guy comes off an IL, 15-day, 30-day, you've got to have that guy you trust behind the plate every bit as much as you have to be mentally ready to go pitch yourself. And I think those are some of the attributes that you want to throw on these guys.
Here's what I don't understand. Okay, we're moving on to first base. Speaking of Dodgers, Freddie Freeman's going to be at the top of the list. But Bryce Harper, who's appeared in like 40 more games at first base than us, as a hitter, sure, I put him on that list. Can you, Chris Dimino, call Bryce Harper the second best first baseman in baseball right now, though?
So I'm going to play my game again. If I put them all in a park, who are you taking? Be honest, if it's not a money thing.
Honestly, I'm probably taking Freddie Freeman over Bryce Harper.
Okay, so then who's second? Because that's where he is here.
I mean, Matt Olson hit 54 and 130 last year.
Are you taking Matt Olson in front of Bryce Harper?
Yes, I would take Matt Olson and Paul Goldschmidt for their defense.
Okay.
I know them. They've got a back of the baseball card at first base. I don't know Bryce Harper at first base.
All right. Listen, we shall see. He made a positional change. He knows he's got to work at it. I'd be hard-pressed not to want Bryce Harper pretty damn quickly.
Yeah.
Is it too quickly? Is it 54 and 130 and Matt Olson? You go, look, the guy's a first baseman, and this is what he did last year. I can certainly do that, but I'm not going to run away from the idea that I'd like Bryce Harper every day.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. But look, I don't know how you take a guy who was number 3 in right field, put him at number 2 at first base after playing a cup of coffee over there. Vlad Jr. at 7, by the way. You want to talk about value? If you're talking about a first baseman draft of getting Vlad 7th?
Not a great year,
no.
And he's on the cover of the MLB show, and a lot of people were like, well, I don't really understand that. Well, I don't understand it either, but they got to pick somebody. It could have been easy. You could have... you could have gone with Juan Soto in a Yankee uniform. Certainly Ohtani in a Dodger uniform. I thought Soto was going to be the guy. If you would have asked me who it's going to be, anybody going to the Yankees with that type of talent, signing a deal that you go, okay, this is supposed to put the Yankees over the top. I would have thought he would have been the cover boy.
Yeah, speaking of Juan Soto, he comes in number 3 as far as the right fielders are concerned. He was number 2 in left. He moves across on the other side this time. No debate here, no argument. Ronald Acuna just hands down running away. I would like to know if they did this on a point system, like what the gap was between him and Kyle Tucker, who's a great right fielder for the Astros. But what is that gap? Like, is it like the balloting where he got 30 first place votes and Tucker's like way down here at second?
We're going to scramble to get all the other guys in the order that we want them in. If it is a point system, I don't even know how the hell they do it.
No,
I don't want to call it dart throwing because I'm sure that a bunch of fairly smart guys got in on this. Yeah. Tucker's sort of like Will Smith. With some of the other stuff that goes on with Houston, even Dusty Baker as a manager, you're going to mention guys like that maybe before you do Kyle Tucker. This is giving him his due.
Yeah. Adolis Garcia, by the way, at 9. That's a pretty good steal as well if you were just ranking these guys in a draft.
The most interesting guy on the list, though, is Soto.
Yeah.
Going to the Yankees and being the guy that's supposed to push them over the top. Is it pressure? New York's not for everybody. You know, if you watch one at bat of this guy, it doesn't look like he's got anything on his mind other than dig me. We'll find out if it plays in New York.
Yeah, I think he's going to hit 40 bombs this year. And I've never, if you've listened to what we've done, I've always said the gap I feel between Acuna and Soto is a lot bigger than most people say it is. They say they're head-to-head. I don't know. He walks a lot, and that's great. He gets on base a lot. I think, though, Yankee Stadium going into a free agent year, Juan Soto, I think his numbers are going to go off the charts this year.
I think a walk is valuable. I used to say this about Frank Thomas as his career went on. You're the best hitter on that team. Take the bat off your shoulder. You're the guy that's supposed to be driving in runs. You're the guy that's supposed to hit doubles and home runs. You're the guy, and I thought the walks were Joey Votto's another guy that people just say, hey, put the bat. I think with Soto, the big thing was that young, he had plate discipline.
Yeah.
That was a big thing with him, and I do agree that's a big thing to be young and have plate discipline, especially when you know they're going to try to corner you. Mm-hmm. They're not throwing you fatties. They're going to try to work every quadrant. His ability to not swing at crap has helped him. Now I think he's supposed to attack.
Yeah.
I think he's supposed to go into attack mode a little bit more now.
I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say about this list, Chris. Like, it's very often, it's not very often that I am held without anything to say. This is not a knock on Matt McClain or Andres Jimenez or Edward Julian or Zach Geloff or Nico Horner. They're big league players. They're big league second basemen, and I applaud that. Ozzie Albies not in the top 10. The floor is yours.
Well, I look at a bunch of guys not ranked, and I go, okay, so they actually put people on new this year. That's kind of interesting. But they forgot a guy again who simply, it could have been, write 5 names, those are the 5, and let's figure out the bottom 5. I don't even care what order you put 1 through 5 in. When I'm talking about value, I certainly know that Ozzie, because I know Betts' contract, I know Altuve's contract, I know Simeon's contract. Arise is a guy, good for him, he's a hitter. I'll take Ozzie because of the power numbers and the RBI numbers. And then if you go down from there, I hate to say it, it's not a contest. It's like it's not a contest. I just don't know. I keep thinking, was he ineligible for a reason? And again, I like the retirement thing. I wanted to congratulate him and buy him a box of cigars and bring it down to Northport. I guess he's going to be coaching this year. If he's going to be helping out around the camp.
Yeah.
But it made no sense. And they got blasted the way they were supposed to get blasted.
He's going into his 8th season. This is not like he's a new dude where you're like, oh, yeah, I forgot about. Like, he's an all-star second baseman. 30 and 100 a year ago. If you're going to tell me that Mookie Betts, who was an outfielder a year ago, is the number 1 second baseman, then tell me the reason why Ozzie is not on that list.
Well, again,
I'll wait.
There should have been 5 guys. You go, these are the 5, then we'll figure out 6 through 10. Maybe even 4. Maybe there's supposed to be 4 guys, and it would have included Ozzie Albies. Then we'll go 5 through 10. We'll figure out the next 6.
Yeah.
Didn't work out that way.
No, it did not.
As they like to say, an oversight. I believe that would be an oversight.
But an oversight 2 years in a row feels a little convenient. Maybe they just wanted to get us fired up and talking about it. I don't know.
I can't get fired up this year. I was fired up last year. We called Brian Kenny. We had him on the show, and we just, at some point you just got to go, okay, is somebody over there willing to – the concession of making a mistake is really, look, you say something, it makes a headline. The apology is usually page 8, but the apology should still happen.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't make – somebody at MLB Network should have stood up from that desk, John Casey, or somebody should have just said, hey, fellas, why don't we do this now and do it publicly? We made a mistake. I'm not even sure that's happened from a network point of view.
I don't think it has, no. Right. But as I tweeted 2 years in a row now, did Ozzie Albies retire? Ozzie, Thank you for seeing that tweet. I know it gave him a good laugh here this offseason. So, look, it brings up fun debate. It brings up spirited conversation. We know Austin Riley did well. He's in the top 5 among third basemen as well, as he should. Braves very well represented on this list. They should have been even better well represented, but that's a different story. But I like what they do here. Look, it gets the conversation rolling. And here we are, a week to go until pitchers and catchers.
365, that's the goal. Everybody's goal is, every sport is, you do the draft. If you're the NFL, you move it. You move the combine. You actually extend your calendar. If you're baseball, you do stuff like this. The draft is never going to work in baseball.
Right.
It's never going to be, look, I'm excited for everybody who's anticipating it, and clubs, and it's your lifeline, it's your bloodline of the future. I get that, but it's never going to be a thing. They want to make it a thing, and I don't blame them. Yeah. There are going to be other things that baseball has to do. This has now become one of them.
Yeah, well, it has. Well, again, we'll hopefully Ozzie will show up at Northport. You'll be there to talk about it. Yeah. You might want to bring him a bottle of liquor if he's hanging up. If he is done.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. I think you should bring a couple of bottles of Old Dominic with you as well.
I thought about bringing a couple of bottles anyway.
You gonna stash them in your bags there?
A little bit big. I don't know what the airport rule is. Are you still on that fluid ounce thing?
Yeah.
You still on take your shoes off?
You can't take this with you.
Oh, by the way,
you can check it if you wrapped it up real good.
Can I? Let me explain something. Taking a laptop out of your bag, that includes you. Taking your shoes off, I swear, that includes you. Oh, you have 3 bottles of shampoo that are this big. I swear that includes you.
Yeah.
You're not special. But you're not special. Like, you don't have any reasons not to do any of these things. Oh, do I have to take my laptop out? Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah.
It'd be nice. Don't bring a chainsaw. Don't bring a gallon of gasoline. I know all the rules. Don't bring one of them Chinese stars, nunchucks. I don't think you're allowed to have any of that stuff. But when they ask for you to take your shoes off, they shouldn't have to, take them off. Take your laptop out, and don't cry about, oh, well, that's my shampoo for the week.
Yeah.
I don't care. You're going to go to CVS when you go wherever it is you're going to.
It's like $3. And if you're staying in a hotel, it's usually free. They usually have those little bottles. They'll take care of you.
Again, it means
you'll be okay. Yeah.
Amanda, have the camera ready when we go to the airport. Because I guarantee you I'll find a guy who just doesn't believe he's supposed to do one of those things.
Hey, by the way, there is a big football game this week coming up. You may have heard there's a big game at the end of this week. So if you're having folks over, maybe you're going to somebody's house, bottle of gin, a bottle of Tennessee whiskey, brought to you by our friends at Old Dominic. I can't see a better way to start out the party. Maybe it's mid-afternoon. You got to kick things off with a bang. I got just the stuff for you.
Yeah, I can tell you what we're going to do. My front door is open. There are a couple of people who said, you watch it. Yeah, I know what that means. You'd like to come over for some free food and booze. No problem. But here's the deal. I'm not sending out an invite. I'm not doing any of those things. The front door will be open. There will be a bar set up, sort of situation, on a kitchen countertop. If you show up, come on over. Help yourself. Just help yourself. I don't want to talk to you very much. I don't want to hear shush the commercials are on. There's probably a good chance by the second quarter, I go down to my basement and leave everybody. My wife has seen that play before. Don't be insulted. It's not you, it's me.
You got a door on that basement?
It's you, but it's me. It's me going downstairs.
Can you close a door? Can you lock yourself in?
No, actually.
Okay. That would be a game changer.
I just feel that sort of means don't come down there.
Right.
Like when you see me go, don't come down there.
Okay. All right.
I think it's over at that point.
What time should I be over, by
done hosting. Listen, I tell everybody, 4 o'clock. If you come before 4, then I better know.
Yeah.
That's sort of an invite. 4 o'clock and on for a 6:30 kick. All doable.
All right. I'm going to bring the Tennessee whiskey. I'm going to bring some Old Dominic gin.
Perfect.
You can put that in your bar.
Perfect.
The folks will enjoy it. We will eat, drink, and be merry, and we'll watch a little ball.
Again, when I go downstairs,
all right.
It's not you, it's me.
All right. I've heard that line a few times.
Who hasn't?
Yeah, I've heard it over the years. Hey, big thanks to you folks for following our coverage. We'll do another show next week before you head down to Northport. We'll really kick off and we'll toast and we'll raise a glass to the start of spring training, which does start next week. Yeah. Spring training games start in like 2.5 weeks. And then the regular season's less than 2 months away, man. It is just, here we go, man. Start the clock. Like, let's get this thing going.
April's going to be fun. I mean, again, you got Augusta, you got the NCAA tournament, you got the beginning of baseball. There'll be more crying about NIL and college football, and all those things will happen really in a short amount of time, which is good for everybody.
Yeah, no doubt. And we'll talk about it, and we'll bring it to you, and we'll have some cocktails with you as we continue another episode. Stay tuned for another episode of Cheers to Baseball, brought to you by Old Dominic. For Chris, I'm Kevin. We'll see you next time.